Welcome back. Political protests have been a bedrock of this nation's democracy since its very founding. And heck, it was a political revolution that started it all in the first place. But now, lawmakers in one state have made a chilling move that could curtail one of our basic freedoms to gripe at the government. Yesterday, the Republican majority in the Arizona Senate approved a bill that would allow prosecutors to seize the assets of anybody who plans or participates in a protest that turns violent. Now, before you say, good, arrest the troublemakers, just consider this. What if the planners are totally peaceful, but some anarchists hijack the proceedings? That happens all the time. Is it fair for the planners to have their stuff taken by the government? Or what if there's a false flag attack on cops at a protest and lives are intentionally ruined to fit an agenda? And would this ever hold up in court? Joining me now is former Miami-Dade County Court Judge Alex Ferrer. Good to see you again. Saw you on the outnumbered couch, and here you are at the plexiglass oval.
It's a full day.
This is very troubling because it seems as though there are free speech implications that lead directly to seizure of property. Redefining rioting in Arizona, what does that mean?
Well, the problem is we're not looking at the full bill yet. I mean, I haven't seen the full bill, but the use of RICO, the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, is not uncommon for things like this. For specifically for protests it is. But if they are planning on going after people who just peacefully plan a protest and the protest then turns violent, that'll never hold up the constitutional examination.
Yeah.
It just won't, because it'll violate the First Amendment. You have to have a criminal intent. You have the criminal mindset. You don't have to commit the act, which is part of what they want to go after. They want to stop rioting before the rioting happens. You don't have to commit the act because that's at the core of laws like conspiracy and solicitation. You don't wait for somebody to murder somebody to arrest them for conspiracy to commit murder if you have the evidence against them. You just have to get them to the point where they are on the verge of committing the crime. So it really depends on how the law is written. If in fact what they're going after is you and I are behind closed doors planning this riot and saying we're going to throw these chairs through windows and we're going to get then yes, we are committing a crime. We're inciting a riot.
But aren't there laws already on the books?
Yes. That
punish that type of criminal activity? Because you're obviously right, and the state has to prove that there was that kind of conspiracy and content between people before they went out and started throwing bricks and Molotov cocktails at cops.
And that is the argument from the Democrats who opposed it. They said there are already laws for inciting a riot. There are already laws for assault and for vandalism, damaging property, and that is true. RICO statutes tend to have more power, so that it gives the law enforcement more tools. As long as they can do it constitutionally, it gives them a stronger case against the perpetrator.
Yeah, but I guess, the mentality is, among these Republican lawmakers in Arizona, the people who are planning these protests are bad because they are not politically aligned with us, and you have anarchists who glom onto these protests, and they're the ones who routinely turn them into violent exchanges with police. Therefore, we need to stop it before it starts. But then if you intimidate enough people who happen to disagree with you, they're not going to go out and protest at all. And it seems like that's the point, is to silence their speech.
Well, that obviously wouldn't be constitutional. In fact, the argument of I've read comments about the law saying it'll allow them to arrest everybody at a protest, even if they weren't involved in any violence. The only way you could do that is if you had evidence that those people at the protest were planning the violence, even if they didn't throw a rock or whatever. Because exactly the point you're making, you have plenty of people who go out to legitimately protest, and then somebody, sometimes not even from the group, sometimes from out of town, comes in and turns it violent.
That's exactly what they do. I mean, those anarchists are agitators. They are in small groups. They don't care about the message. They're not there to support anyone. They just like to throw stuff and
destroy property.
Yeah.
And that kind of a law would not be upheld, or at least the application of that law would not be upheld.
Yeah.
So this law has to be narrowly tailored so that it doesn't interfere with anybody's free speech rights, and in that respect it has to be based on evidence of criminal conduct planned or performed.
Well, I would suggest that these conservatives in Arizona go back to the Constitution and worry about protecting our freedoms and not punishing people before they do anything in the first place. Judge Alex, I almost called you Doctor. Dr. Judd Mudd, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks,
Always
Kennedy.
appreciate it.